Hi there, this is a basic MIDI setup guide. If you muck around with some music tools, very quickly you'll find yourself with a lot of kit. This is some of the stuff that I've got. So I've got a small keyboard, big keyboard. I've got some virtual instruments, piano and cello. These come with their players that they come in, Contact and VI Labs. So keyboards are outie, instruments are innie, and then we've got some tools in the middle. Waveform that can go in and out, loopMIDI in and out, and Musescore again in and out. And you might find that you need all of these to get a setup that you want. So what I'm going to do is very simply just get a keyboard working with the VST. After that, we're going to get a Musescore that's going to use these VSTs. And then after that, because there is an issue that if one device is using, let's say this VST is using this keyboard, then that keyboard can't be used elsewhere. So then that's why you need to have extra virtual MIDI devices. So it maybe go to loopMIDI and then loopMIDI to VST, and then it can also go somewhere else. So we're going to go, second of all, we're going to go Musescore, going to the VSTs. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go Musescore to loopMIDI, to then go to Waveform, and then from Waveform to VSTs. I've also got a little app, a little visualizer that I'm creating. So this is why I needed to do this, in order that I could have some music playing and then also get some MIDI signals going into this app. So there we go. Let's get started. Right then, here's a couple of VSTs. Got a cello, and when you get a VST, it'll come with its own preferred player or engine that it likes. So this one's inside Contact Player, and this piano is inside VI Labs. If I look at the config here, I've got my two keyboards attached over USB, and we see here the cello is on the big keyboard and the piano's on the small one. If I try to deselect that and try and select the big keyboard, that doesn't work because it's taken from this other device. So if I turned that off, then I could select it. Nice. Anyway, we're setting them back, and we are good to have a little tinkle. Okay, so here we are in Musescore. I've just created a new score with piano and cello parts. If I was to go into the preferences, you'll see that I've got the small keyboard attached on the input. It's not connected to any other program, so no one's going to steal my MIDI signals. So we can just play some tune and it will be recorded onto the stave. And then we can also do a similar thing for the cello part. Let's get some big notes. Very good. And now if we can play them both together. And it doesn't sound too shabby, but we can. But this is playing from the sound cards MIDI tunes, so we can change that. So the piano, we can use our UVI workstation. There we go, it pops up. So we'll have a nicer piano. Very good. And then for this, wait. We can hear we will use our native instruments contact. And the cello, there it is, boom. And now if we go back and play this, we should hear the nicer instruments. And you can change the levels. Very good. Right, so now we've got Waveform as well. So our goal here is to take this as it's being played and send it to Waveform. Now, this may not be a sensible workflow, but there may be some use. I think there's definitely some use in fighting with MIDI to get it to do what you want. So I'm going to show you this, and it's I believe it's not going to work. So let's go. I've also got loopMIDI. So this gives an in and out MIDI virtual port, but it also gives you the data that's being sent to it. So that's kind of a useful debug. So let's add a new one. So this is, let's call this from Muse. Very good. Excellent. So we're going to send there. If we go here to the preferences, we can then select inside MIDI out, no device. Let's send it to from Muse. Good. Right. So if we were to hit play, we'd expect to see something happen. And it doesn't. Right. So after a little bit of fighting, I kind of worked out what this was. Similar to the keyboard, when a keyboard is plugged into one program application, another one can't use it. So I think this might just be an internal thing to Musescore. What you have to do is to revert back to the basic. That's piano. Let's go for piano then. Come on. Good. Basic. What's this? A violin? No, it's a cello. Vocal. Strings. Up here, cello somewhere. There we go. Good, good, good. So now, when we press play, excellent, we're seeing notes move up. There we go. So these are no longer used by Muse, and we've got notes from Muse going into loopMIDI. Excellent. So now inside Waveform, it has its own configuration of MIDI. Now it will play. Well, let's just do it. Let's show you. So here, if I go with the from Muse, so Muse was sending it to from Muse, and now we're reading from Muse. That's a very good naming. So now if we press record, just to see those notes come in. Stop. And we expand this out. Yes, so we're seeing both the piano part and the cello part on the same instrument, so we don't want that. Good. So let's go to the settings, and what we want is a virtual device. So let's say Muse Piano. Now we're hoping that this Muse Piano is using channels 1 and 2. maybe. We'll never know until we try it. Muse cello. And for the cello, we want, oh, look at that. Maybe I've had these ones before. But anyway, this is where you set up the channels. You're setting the input to being from Muse, and you're setting the channels to being whatever channels they're on. If you can't find them, you know, select half of them, then select half of that until you find the channel that it's on. There's probably a better way of doing it. Good. So now if we go here, we can then change this from being from Muse to being the piano, and then change this one to being the cello part, and now set them both active. Go back to the start, and then over here so that didn't work. We've got the cello part right. It's maybe a little bit confusing. For here, we're hearing the sounds, so we can just turn these mixers down. So now we're only going to hear from waveform. So we can add in, this was the cello, so native instruments. Dum dum dum. Cello, good. And then this one, we wanted to have the piano. Very good. So now back to the start, record, play this. Very good. So it's just as the same as before, but rather than the Musescore playing from its internal sound card, what we're doing is we are using the waveform to then play the correct instrument. But it's not working for the piano, there's nothing in there. So we've got the piano set up wrong. So as I was saying, this is MIDI channels 1 and 2. Okay, let's try allow all. Oops, minus 3, because we know 3 is the cello. Also didn't work. I thought that was going to work. Let's go to the settings. Piano. From Muse. Go on then. Let's set that back to what it was before. Which we think is 1 and 2. Good. Back, record. Excellent, there we go. So again, I think that the workflow is maybe a bit strange, but you might want those notes in here. You could do it maybe from a file, but this is an option. It also lets us understand MIDI a bit better. Good. So that's it. So we've got from Musescore to loopMIDI, and then from loopMIDI into Waveform, and then from Waveform it goes to the VSTs. Good. And finally, I've got some ducks that I created in Blender. and sent them waddling away to Godot, and now they're listening. They're listening for some MIDI. Yes, this is not recommended. All right, thank you. Hopefully that has been educational, and if not, I've got lots of nodding ducks.